and I will use most of the time of the talk for some demos. So about the technology, so the Eclipse project for document generation from Polarsys Tools. It's a very simple sentence, very simple statement, but everything is in this sentence. First, Gendoc is an Eclipse project. We have migrated from Topcast 2 years ago, and as an Eclipse project, we have all the stuff we need, the website, of course, the tutorials, bugs, forums, Gerrit, and you can download right now the 0.5.1 version of Gendoc. About migrating from Topcast to Eclipse, being an Eclipse project, we have very strong results. We are not we are not the biggest project in Eclipse, of course, but we see the advantages of being part of the Eclipse Foundation. We have more feedbacks from more users, more users from different cities or countries than before. We try to make living the community. We will, in the future, try to share some templates, to share best practices using the tool. And we have no contribution helped by Gerrit, and it's really something that we appreciate than before. In the Topcast community, we have mostly Toulouse company, and now we have really we have very good paid feedbacks. Using the Eclipse tools, we can also improve the quality. The usage of Sonar helped us to detect some lags, and using all of these tools provided by the Eclipse community was a plus, and we really appreciate that. The goal of Gendoc, the main goal of Gendoc is generating document. So I will try. Hi. Well, no, it's okay. So. No, it's okay. I begin early. It's my fault. Sorry. So I just introduce myself and the project, so you have missed nothing. So the goal of Gendoc, as its name means, is generating document. I know that for most people, a document is something not very fun to do, but it's something we have to do, and this is very important. The goal of Gendoc is not to, we can, but it's not the goal to produce reports, KPI or some kind of stuff. We have in mind the possibility to, the need to produce documents. And a document will be approved, certified, and we will give him to customers and certification authorities and this kind of stakeholders. So a document is an official paper that gives information. It's a Merriam-Webster definition. And most of the people, it's something painful to write, mostly when information is already present in a model. And most of the case when we use a Papyrus, Capella, and I will present it just after. So we are integrated in the scope of Polarsys. Polarsys hosts some projects and have some projects in scope. Gendoc is in the scope of Polarsys, and Polarsys is an Eclipse industry working group focused on critical domains like aerospace, defense and security, energy, and so on. And the keywords is, we can see, for example, certification. Yes, Gendoc is in the focus of Polarsys because Polarsys cares about certification. And when we do modeling, when we do verification of this model, when we do produce some code, some elements, the document is an essential part of the process focused in the Polarsys context. Currently, there is two important modeling tools in Polarsys, Capella and Papyrus, and we are compatible with both of them. But if you are using EMF editors, any XML editors managed by EMF, you can use Gendoc. We have a very huge use case where people are generating documents from XMLs and generating from other gateways, but it works. So to resume from the beginning of the presentation, Gendoc is an open source solution, EPL. It's hosted by the Eclipse Foundation. We are able to generate official papers, certifiable documents, and from any EMF model, XMLs, so mainly Papyrus or Capella currently. For that, we use a model-to-text language, and using this language, we can insert dynamic content in a document, in a static document, in a template. So this is a very simple, here we have a Gendoc template, and using Gendoc, we will fill the dynamic part with the content contained in the model. So I will introduce the latest features and the roadmap, the short-term roadmap. So the 060 is coming this summer. We are still, we don't have the date right now because we realize that we, because of the number of contributions that we have to validate, we prefer analyzing them and pushing make the focus on the quality and releasing it when it will be ready, but this summer. The content of the 060 is important because we have all the benefits of the Eclipse community. We will improve the reliability, the error detection. We had some problems with files not stored in projects, for example, when they are versioned using Git. So all of these bugs will be included, the fix of this bug will be included in the 060. And there was a very old bug making difficult the generation of images from using recent version of Word, and this bug will be included in the 060. About the new features, we will be able to generate vectorial graphics. So it's very important for huge documents. We can generate 500 documents. Don't tell me who will read these 500 pages document, but there are images inside it, and the document can be big. So generating in vectorial graphics helps to reduce the size. Something important is when you use GMF, you have an SVG export by default. So LibreOffice or OpenOffice can read them, no problem. If you want to produce vectorial graphics in Word, you have to use the EMF format. So it's not EMF, the modeling EMF. And we will have the Capella compatibility. After 060, we need your feedbacks. We need your ideas. We have a lot of ideas. We can improve the generation from profile, helping to make queries, because it's sometimes for UML profile, it's sometimes difficult to browse the models. We have ideas about making a generic document meta model to have one static meta model for document generation. So it's something we can discuss on the mailing list. We are very open about your feedbacks, about your ideas. We can change the M2T language. Currently, the Axeleo, it has been some time that Axeleo didn't evolve, so maybe it could be nice to see for extend or epsilon, this kind of language to integrate. With some ideas we have, it's maybe revert modification in the generating document to make the query easier. So all of this is in our backlog. We will make them available and make possible for people to react, say, it's a nice idea, it's something very important, and discuss and try to collaborate on these topics. So about the industrial usage, at Atos, we have, as I know, the biggest use case of Gendoc generation. It's for a CNES consortium with a lot of partners, and there is strong activities in modeling using RSA from IBM, and in a continuous integration each day. All the technical documents are generated in continuous integration using Maven plugins on Jenkins. So each architect, each tester, any role you have in your project receive every morning the latest up-to-date generated document according to according to the model. So about the non-users, We have very happy users, we have happy users, we have satisfied users, but they use Gendoc. And if you want more information about their usage, we can talk about it, there is no problem. So let's go for demos, yes. Who is already using Gendoc in this room? Okay, no, so I will start from fresh concepts, and I will try to give some hints for already using users or for future users to not do the same mistakes as everybody does when they start using Gendoc. So, I have a very industrial model. So, with a recent version of Papyrus, I don't know why I have an invalid view. So it's okay. It's something it's a warning. So I have two important actors. Very happy to do the use case 1, use case 2, and use case 3. And I will try to generate a document and exporting this diagram. So very first template, when we design a Gendoc, we try to think about the user. We were very user-driven when we think about the documentation generation, and we say we want something the most easy as we can think, and we say if information is not needed, don't fill it. So by default, the only necessary information to mention is where do you want to take the model and what is the element we start, the context element. So it's the only mandatory tag in Gendoc. If you just do this, you will generate nothing, but it's the only tag the only necessary tag. For information, we have variables. You can, by extension point, add variables, but by default, you will have the variables according to your project. So here you have the linked resource of the project. So if you add some variables here, they will be available in Gendoc. So when I'm mentioning project lock, I'm talking about this variable. So I will add some content because generating this document is totally useless. An important part is before Gendoc, we had a tool where you can, you have some GUI and you say, I want this in my document, I want this in my document, I want to reference this data source. But each time we generate the document, the user says, no, it's not the quality charter of the company, or the logo is not at the right size, I want to change the property of the table, do we have to change the implementation or do we have to code? There, in a global picture of Gendoc, we have in mind that it could be we could have two types of users. The developer, okay, he knows Gendoc, he is trained, and he knows how to use, how to browse a model, and we have the template designer. So sometimes it's a very basic task because it's taking the template from the company and say code please, but we can iterate and modifying the graphical aspects in parallel of the code. So this is my document. Yep, and this is the most basic activity in Gendoc. Here I have static text, documentation model. I have inserted a tag mentioning this is where the code begins. And then I have my M2T code. And something very important is I have set it bold. So when I will generate, the static part will remain standard and the dynamic part will remain bold. A pitfall where newcomers falls, and we have a lot of questions on the forum, so we will try to improve that in the future, is we deal with the XML tree of the document. We are working on standards open XML and open documents. And sometimes in your model you have invalid character, quotes, fake quotes, some invalid character. And generally in Gendoc, when you use a string, call the clean method, and you will have a better user maybe you will have a better experience with Gendoc. So to generate, I go on my template. We can run it in a console mode to operate it using scripts, but with the user interface, we generate document. And by default, it happens generated. We can configure the output, but by default, it happens generated at the end of the document. So, no surprise, because I have the documentation of my model and the name of my model element in bold. Very basic use case in Gendoc. But it's a good start. So, my first example is, okay, my diagram, which is very essential and very important because I have 3 use cases with very important names. I want it in my document. So, here we have something called image tag. I have a frame, a very standard word frame, and I will say, please insert the first diagram of my model. We can make it more complex, but here I want to display the first diagram of my model. And below I want to have some statistics. So I want to have the number of use cases and the number of use cases that have no activity diagrams linked to them. So I am using Axelio and OCL to express that. If you've never seen this code, it could be, you can think it's difficult, but it's very easy to learn. It's something we can train people in less than 1 day. And we will iterate on each use case on the model and display the name using the title predefined using styles title 1. So I generate my document. And I have my image with actor big. I have 3 use cases in my model and 1 that has no activity diagrams. As I said, our focus is document for certification. But for project leader, we can provide some statistics, reporting. It's also a use case, even if it's not the main goal of Gendoc. Here I have my 3 use cases, and they have obviously the great style applied on them. So. The problem is my image is nice. I have a strong focus on the actor 1, but but it's not very interesting. So I will show you how to improve that using Gendoc. So there is options in the image tag, and here I say my frame. My frame in the future is something I want to focus on and say, even if the image is smaller than the frame, okay, keep the image the correct size. But if it's bigger than the frame, please Gendoc reduce the size, and it will help me to have a better document at the end. So we'll see the result. Sorry for actor 1, but yes, the image is resized. So we have 4 options to say, I want max this width, max this height. They can be combined, and we can say, whatever it happens, you have to be in that width or in that height. So the resize will be made to make bigger or make smaller to say this frame. So we will try to add some elements. So in this case, I will show you the tables. So I can insert data in an already defined table, but if I want to have dynamic rows, I have a tag named table. So I can set a header. I define my style on the header. So if I want a very beautiful table provided by Word or LibreOffice, I set the style here. And then I use a Faure provided by the M2T language to generate the row. Here I generate I will display the content of the node the nodes of the activities linked to use case. And if there is no activity to the use case, I'll display no activities. Sorry. Okay. Activity 1. I display all the activities, sorry, in the use case, and I display for each activity the number of nodes of the activity. So my use case 1, it seems there is 2 activities inside, and my activity 2 has no nodes, and my activity 1 has 2 nodes. So we kept the style of the table from the template. If you have questions, is it okay? The goal is to understand the philosophy, and if you want more details, we can see after or during the questions. Here, I will show you a hint, a Gendoc hint that we will document it in the next version of the tutorial. It's for advanced user, but sometimes, for some reasons, the generation can take too much memory because you have a lot of content to insert. And the architecture of Gendoc is based on services, and you can replace the service by your own code. We provide some alternatives, and this is an alternative to make the time maybe a little bit longer, but less memory consumption. So if you have memory problems with Gendoc, you can say in a config tag, I want to use these services, and automatically Gendoc at the runtime will replace the service by the new implementation. So every key feature, business feature of Gendoc can be replaced by your implementation if you want to address specific topics, and you just have to specify in the template that you want to use your service instead of us. Something that I didn't present is the notion of bundles. We can embed some libraries, some queries inside plugins, and there I precise that I want to use GMF library and Papyrus libraries. It's something I inserted in the previous template. So I can run the generation, but you will see no modifications, but internally it uses an alternative service for the tag analysis. Something interesting, I have made a very simple model, very pertinent, because I have only one model. It's using CDO. So I run a server on my laptop, and I have created a model named CDO model in a CDO resource. So it's contained in my server in a database. So using Gendoc, but it's not a Gendoc feature, it's a EMF feature, basic EMF feature. I just insert the URI of the model in CDO. So I said, my model is on localhost using TCP. The path is repo1, resource 1, and please display the name of the model. So I will close the session to show you that there is no. And if I generate document, so okay, I realize that we have a small bug, a warning, an error. We will fix that, but the generation occurred. And when I see the success, doc6, CDO model. So Gendoc using EMF, call CDO, open the model, and display the information so I can browse, display diagrams, and so on. So yes, I can show you the Capella example. So in Capella we have the in-flight entertainment system. It's very complex, and yes, there is more than 3 actors. Yes, but maybe it's named actor 1. No. Ah. Crew. Yeah. So I'm not sure what I am opening, but there is a diagram in Capella. This is the model provided by the Capella community on the website. So Capella, there was Pascal. If you have questions about Capella, please ask Pascal Roch. He will answer all your questions. But there, I want to. It's difficult to open files in Capella. So here it's a more complex template because we want to have a big, deeper view of the content of a Capella model. And there we browse the requirements, we try to see how the elements are linked, and we try to display a professional document. So it's more or less, it's a template. It's a template, we display the diagrams, but I will show you that we can generate information from Capella. So in this case, I've configured the output path to insert the date of the generation. That's right. And here, I can see that we are generating the model for the in-flight entertainment system. We have the operational analysis, no operational requirements, okay. Operational context. Yes, cabin crew, pilot, ground operator, passenger. The diagrams with the correct size. And for each system entity, we can use bullets to display the content of the model. So obviously, we can display more information for Capella, but it's just to demonstrate that it's compatible and it works with that. So if you want information about Gendoc, you can contact me or contact Stéphane Duprat. About Gendoc is totally open source. You can contribute. At Atos, we have some offers about trainings or consulting, but everything is free to use by default. So thank you, and you can evaluate the session. Yes?
With the bundle feature, is it possible to define your own queries like outside and reuse them?
Yes.
Because I guess like sometimes it will be like...
Yeah, it's a very best practice, not often practiced by users, but it's a very good practice to define your queries, package them in a bundle, and then you just register to an extension point and you can use it in the document as I displayed. Do you answer your question? Olivier.
Yes. What about the LibreOffice integration?
The same. The same. We have some differences about some features. We know that sometimes we have problems with Word or sometimes with LibreOffice, but we try to make them equivalent. So it depends on the feature. But LibreOffice, OpenOffice, no problem.
Is the latest version?
Yeah, I used recently. I used the last version of LibreOffice. There was no problem.
And another question: what about the auto-completion with the template?
If you have skills in VBA, you can collaborate, Olivier.
What's the integration with PowerPoint?
PowerPoint. It's a very good question. To be honest, I didn't have the time to. I would like to generate my presentation using Gendoc and try to prototype. I have seen that it's possible, and there is. It should work. I tried. Honestly, I spent 2 hours and I realized that it was not necessary as a commit strip present. But yes, it's something we have in mind. Very interesting, and the technology and the architecture is totally possible to do it with. As I said, even with 2 years we are at Eclipse, so we take our time and we will try to see what the community wants. So I think we will. On the wiki reference, the ideas I have mentioned in the PowerPoint, and see the feedbacks and what's interesting. And if somebody wants to pay it, so it's better. But yes.
If I can, I did see 0.6 the version. So are there any limitations? Why is it not 1 already?
Yes, Actually, Eclipse Foundation asked us if we can leave the incubation phase and switch to 1.0. And I have written all the criteria to switch to incubation, and I realized that some of the criteria were not okay, so I didn't want to fool the community, so I said no, we will wait to have more users and more community to switch to 1.0. Yes?
How long does it take to generate a big document with say 200 pages?
Yes, it's not linear the time. Basically, for most of the models, most of the documents, it remains 10 seconds, 15 seconds. For big documents, when you have memory problems, it could take hours. It's because of the GVM. But when you don't have this problem, it could take around minutes. So 10 minutes, it could be this time for an industrial document, I mean.
Is there integration with build tools? So I guess it's like would be a great thing to have like continuous integration, like check in the model and it tells you your documentation broke.
Yeah. So as I said, for the CNES, the French Space Agency, we have integrated Gendoc in a continuous integration. We didn't contribute to the Maven plugins. I don't know why. I have to focus maybe because of IP, but it's totally achievable, yes. More questions? Yes?
When you launch the world, there seems to be a plugin or something like this? Because in the Atos...
Sorry, what?
When you launch the world,
yes?
launch document, when it starts, you have in the banner, you have an Atos...
Yes, nothing about Gendoc.
Okay.
It's our Atos Word template. It helps us to write a document easily, and we can select the titles and prepare some documents very efficiently. And you can note that I have both. I have two because I have a problem with my installation. Other questions?